Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, LuckyEevee, Stryker, and Jordan. Today is our 43rd episode, and we're discussing 1993's We're Back, a Dinosaur Story. So, Let's get things started. Now, Steven Spielberg had famously wanted to get an animation for an extremely long time. He ended up working with Don Bluth in the 80s. He helped co-produce Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And in the 90s, he actually decided to set up his own animation studio, Ambulation, to make movies, while he was also working on TV with Tiny Toon Adventures and later Animaniacs. Now, Ambulation...
Along came Kathleen Kennedy as well.
Yep, she sure did. But Ambulation, they only made about 3 movies in their entire studio lifespan. The first was Fievel Goes West, which actually was made without Don Bluth's involvement, contrary to popular belief. And the second movie that they worked on was this. Now, this movie is based on a children's picture book of the same name, and this movie has extremely little to do with it. The only similarities between the book and the movie are the dinosaurs are made smarter by the alien, they go to the Thanksgiving Day parade, and they meet Dr. Dweeb in the Natural History Museum. Literally everything else that happens in this movie, everything else was invented for the movie itself, which explains how just weird it gets. And
Indeed.
This is definitely one of the weirder yet more mainstream things we are probably going to discuss on this podcast. Now, one thing that this movie does good right off the bat is that this movie has a pretty good voice cast, and I believe this was the first animated movie that John Goodman did, who of course would later be Sully in Monsters, Inc., Pacha and Emperor's New Groove, and he's really just a fantastic actor all around. If you haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, go see 10 Cloverfield Lane. He is absolutely phenomenal in it. He should have been nominated for Best Actor in that, I actually think.
He also did some live action movies like
Big Lebowski,
Kong Skull Island and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, Big Lebowski, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to mention. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, he's great in those too. He's just great in anything in particular.
He is.
And don't forget the weird thing about this movie in this particular time. This was also around the same time that he played Fred Flintstone. So that means he played both a dinosaur and a caveman in like a 2-year time span. And
That's
both
awesome.
movies were also produced by Steven Spielberg. I guess they had some kind of weird prehistoric craze thing going on.
They did, because at the same time around the same time they released Jurassic Park.
Oh, we will get to that. We will get to more with the relations with Jurassic Park and this movie in particular.
It's mainly just to appeal to kids, basically.
Yeah,
Yep.
and well, I'll say more about this movie. Interesting connection with Jurassic Park later on.
Oh yeah, we will.
Yeah. So the opening of this movie, it never really made sense to me. When I first watched it, not when I've kept on rewatching it, and not now. It opens with a Buster, a bird, deciding to leave the nest, where he runs into Rex playing golf in the park. Which, this just comes completely out of nowhere. No context, no nothing. It's like you could have easily started the movie 5 minutes later, and the audience would have had more time to actually settle into things rather than just like blast you in the face with complete, utter weirdness right off the bat.
Yeah, and also it doesn't help that they included a bird with is pretty hot mom with a mom bod. And all I can think of this scene is basically it's just Caddyshack but with dinosaurs.
Yeah, and
oh no.
But like the thing is this movie, the animation, I will say, is extremely well done. It's kind of similar to Bluth, but it takes its own different style with it, if that makes sense. It's like Don Bluth, but not necessarily like him, if that makes any sense.
I mean, the previous movie that they made was Fievel Goes West, so...
Yeah, they had to basically follow Bluth's designs for that. But we then Rex then talks with Buster, as Buster asks why a dinosaur is playing golf in modern times. And then we get Rex beginning to talk about his past, and it's here we get a really awesome effect. And I think, to me, it's one of the best pieces of animation in the entire movie. It zooms in on his eyes, and his eyes become the past. And we cut back to basically, prehistoric times, the dinosaur age. And we see the feral version of Rex, who, of course, is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, basically chasing down a smaller dinosaur. And this entire sequence, I know, Don Bluth, the instant basic realization would be, oh, it's like Land Before Time. But for me, it reminded me a lot more of Fantasia's Rite of Spring sequence. It really reminded me.
I can see that.
I think it was maybe the color grading in the sky. It reminded me a lot of the famous T-Rex fighting the Stegosaurus scene, and we will talk about that movie one day in the distant future on this podcast.
Oh yeah, which is another
amazing.
classic. Like that was back when the sequels were actually good.
Yeah. That is Fantasia. Just going on brief one sentence tangent. Fantasia is probably my favorite animated movie ever made by anyone in any country and anything. But getting back to this movie, we get to see a spaceship that appears over the horizon and it slowly lands as Rex, of course, being an animal, just roars at it. I really like how the spaceship is designed. It has like a really cool steampunk sort of aspect to it. Again, this is probably
it's unique.
Yeah. It's not overly designed either. It could be very easy to make this ship seem like overly cartoonish or overly designed, but no. They kept it streamlined in a way that I think is really, really good. We then get to see a small green alien pop out of the ship and approaches Rex, trying to give him a brain grain cereal, let him make him intelligent.
Honestly, this character,
before
finding out that his voice actor was the same person who did the
Jay Leno,
and he's really, really annoying. This little guy. I'm sorry, he bugged the hell out of me. I'm so glad he was only there for.
He honestly didn't bug me all that much. I was more fascinated by his voice because he sounds eerily similar to Quentin Flynn, the voice of Cone from Bleach. Which,
he kind of did actually.
Yeah, the whole time I heard him, I just like, Cone, is that you?
Well, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing that one of these people would be in. But basically, this alien he's kind of like the even more annoying cousin of the Great Gazoo from the Flintstones. So, yeah.
He's never explained where Borg comes from.
Exactly. I said that. And yet, in the original book, there was no Captain New Eye. So he was the guy who invented the thing and basically gave them intelligence, which I guess makes a little more sense because, alien, hijinks and that. But yet, if you take it with, the characterization of this, why does Captain New Eyes keep an alien around?
Actually, that is a good question.
It's never explained. Like, a lot of things in this movie are never properly explained.
Yeah, much like how Rex is playing golf.
Yeah, that whole sequence, like I say, it still just makes no sense to me, the entire opening sequence, but
it's good though.
Honestly, it's just a movie. And
it's animated. Oh, it's animated perfectly. It's animated it's really, really well done. I will never take that away from this movie. So anyway, Rex then chases the alien into the ship where he's basically force-fed the brain grain and he slowly gains intelligence. And it's here where he's taken to another part of the ship where he meets the other dinosaurs, Wooga Triceratops, Dweeb, who I think is the duck-billed dinosaur. I can never get the name of that.
Hadrosaur. He's a hadrosaur, yeah.
I could never get the name of that right. And Elsa, who's a pterodon. Elsa, of course, is the lone female of the group, and she's voiced by an actress named Felicity Kendall, who mostly worked in British television, from what I read. This was really her only movie, or at least her most mainstream movie. And she has a really nice design. She has like a almost hourglass figure and the light British accent to it. It works well for the character. And she's not the main character.
She's also very, very proper.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and of course, even though she's not the main character, she still gets some really, really fun moments in it. And she's definitely the center of the movie. And also, one of the other dinosaurs, of course, Dweeb, is voiced by Charles Fleischer, who previously worked with Steven Spielberg in another animated movie, because Charles Fleischer was the voice of Roger Rabbit.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess.
That I could hear it. I can hear it now.
Yeah, you can kind of hear it. Like if you listen to it, like some of the inflections that sound very similar. And of course, Roger Rabbit made a boatload of money in that and was a huge critical success. I figured, why not work with him again?
Of course.
Yeah. The gag with the Rex misreading the tag upside down is funny. That's a joke that for me never gets old. Those kind of jokes, like when they do like SpongeBob too and things like that, it always is funny.
Beavis and Butthead.
yeah, that too. Yeah. But yeah, also we get to see Elsa being flirty with Rex, and again, it's another fun part of her character. That she actually reacts in this way to seeing him and his at first discomfort of her, but later on it becomes more of a mutual thing. I'm just surmising because it's never really explained in the movie itself, but we'll definitely talk more about that.
But
don't question.
You don't really need it. You don't really need an explanation.
Don't question a good thing.
Exactly.
Be happy, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the dinosaurs basically talk about themselves and what they did when they were basically, dinosaurs, savage beasts. And it's an interesting idea. I like how they actually self-reflect on themselves and how they basically behave now that they have the ability to rationalize, like, oh my God, we were dinosaurs. We, basically crushed and ate and, ravished our way through the world.
We were animals, basically.
Basically, yeah. And it's a very fascinating concept that they don't really do much with, unfortunately. But, it still is, a good, excellent sequence. And I kind of wish they did a little bit more with it. Maybe to give them a little bit more character. But again, we'll get to that in a little bit. The backgrounds of this movie, and especially, I feel the ship, are beautiful. I mean, some of this stuff looks like painting quality. It is just so well done. And I mean, even like a lesser 2D movie like this, it looks absolutely stunning, and it really, really showcases, and like, especially with the Captain New Eyes, basic private study. And we get to see Captain New Eyes, who is the captain of the ship, and he is the creator of the Brain Grain cereal. He's voiced by Walter Cronkite, who was a newscaster in the United States. And this man's voice is so soothing and charming and just so incredibly relaxing that it's like, why wasn't he in more animated movies?
It's almost fatherly in a way.
Yeah. And it's like, this man's voice is basically the audio equivalent of like slipping in a hot tub and just like being so soothing and relaxing. It's like, how did this guy not get like hundreds of voice acting jobs? This guy had a voice that, is amazing. And yet this was the only real animated movie he ever did.
A comparison I make between him and another person would have to be Clancy Brown. Like, the voice I hear is gravelly, but it goes down so dang smooth all the time.
Yeah, I definitely can hear it. I definitely can, see why.
It's totally so. It's honestly a little chilling sometimes, especially if you've seen like shows like Venture Bros and occasionally Troll Hunters. Also,
of course, lest we forget, he was Mr. Krabs.
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs. Can't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Captain New Eyes basically presents his Wish Radio, which broadcasts all the children's wishes of the world, and children are wishing to see dinosaurs, which is, of course, explains why he went back in time and gave the foursome the brain gain. And one of the wishes
this isn't Wish or Undertale, because there are
very
jokes I could make with those.
Both of them would be very interesting. But one of the wishes is from Louis, our main human protagonist, who wishes that he has a real friend. Oh, thank God it's not that Louis. I think if that Louis starred in this movie, we would want him to be crushed instantly.
Oh yeah.
It's what he deserves.
For those who don't know, we're talking about Pikmin Louis.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about Louis from Pikmin, not the Louis from this movie.
I just realized what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, basically
we need a Louis soundboard for that now.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. We'll get one. But yeah, the dinosaurs basically agree to, help out with the children's wishes, and we get to see the ship travel through time, which is shown interestingly, the ship is remaining stationary in space while the Earth spins. Sadly, it is not Superman turning back time to save Lois from the earthquake.
Yeah, or freaking, what's his face? It was,
Barry?
No, it's Champion. It's Stupendous Man, Calvin and Hobbes. That's what it was.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, like I say, we get to see the dinosaurs' reaction to New York, which is a really fun one. He tells them about, like I say, just the fact that they're confronted with something that they've had no idea of ever knowing what even existed. And, they're just so stunned by it that it's a really good reaction. So anyway, Captain New Eyes then tells them about Dr. Dweeb, who was there to help them out and basically get them to the museum, as well as Professor Screweyes, who is his evil twin brother. Now, Screweyes is played by Kenneth Mars, who is best known for being King Triton in The Little Mermaid, as well as his work in Mel Brooks movies. He was Franz Liebkin in the original producers. He was the Burgermeister in Young Frankenstein.
Nice.
He is following in his grandfather's footsteps.
Oh
that was him.
gosh.
Yeah, the guy with the wooden arm. That was him.
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently, John Malkovich was going to play Screweyes, but personal disagreement with the story and the script caused him to walk off the project, as well as potential concerns that he was really frightening to small children. My personal theory is that the reason he quit is that John Cusack was controlling his body, which is the second time I've made that joke on this podcast, by the way.
Oh, dear. What joke was that from again?
Being John Malkovich.
John Malkovich.
It's a good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen
interesting.
it. But yeah,
all right.
I like how New Eyes, at this point, he literally just drops them out of his ship, which is like, did he not think, okay, you know about my evil twin, you know about Dr. Weeb, okay, now get out of here. And he literally just pulls on a lever.
Oh, man. Honestly, I like how they parachutes despite, getting kicked out of there, like, oh, man.
Yeah, it's just.
Also, they got a flyer with them.
Yeah, and even though she doesn't help him out with this, of course. But yeah, what happens is they land in the East River, piloted by a makeshift raft by Louis. Louis is basically like one of the kids. Excuse me. Louis is basically one of the kids in the movie Dead End, except this movie just takes place 60 years after that movie, so he has no excuse acting like one of the Dead End kids. And the thing that's funny is he's just so blasé about dinosaurs being there that it's almost comical. It's like after
this is normal.
Shock, it's like, yeah, it's perfectly normal that 4 dinosaurs would fall out of the sky and land right near you. Yeah. But yeah, Louis plans on running away to the circus, and he decides he'll take the dinosaurs with him on the way. They finally make it to the dock as they look up at the building in awe, but Rex slips and falls into the water. Louis basically saves him by getting a hold of an excavator, which he somehow knows how to use, and he picks him up.
He got a little intimidated at first by it, but then just
he kind of was like, "Holy crap, what's going on here?" Before he was like, "I can roll with this."
He pulls the first lever, and it works.
Exactly. It's like, it's one of those contrivances that you can't really think about. You just have to accept it like, okay, it's an animated kids movie from the 90s.
I actually accepted that too.
Just relax.
But yeah, Rex then sees Louis in a bubble, and he remembers him from the Wish radio earlier, which again, it's a nice touch they actually did that. They did a little callback. Dr. Bleeb then shows up seconds after they leave. She mistakes the construction equipment for them because of her thick glasses.
And because she's nearsighted as all fuck.
Of course. She's basically like Truffles from Chowder, except...
she is!
You'd put that thought in my head. You're putting that in the voice in my head. How dare you?
Sorry about that.
One thing to mention about Dr. Bleeb, actually. She's played by Julia Child.
Oh, really? The chef?
Yeah, she is played by Julia Child.
Huh. I did not make that connection until right now, but wow, yeah, I can say, wow, I mean, that's weird. I mean, a newscaster and a professional chef are 2 of the main characters in my animated movie. I mean, I guess if you're Spielberg, you could do anything.
Oh, yeah, you can get anyone.
And Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's here where we get a really cool sequence, and probably one of these standouts that Elsa has. Louis repeatedly calls Elsa a bat, much to her annoyance. After she corrects him for like the 50th time, Louis asks her if she can fly, and she gives the most smug, like, "Are you serious?" smirk to him.
And then
challenge accepted.
And then the movie cuts to Louis on her back, being taken on a wild ride of the city. And I just love how it's implied, like, oh, can I fly? Let me show you. And again, the flying sequence has really, really excellent animation.
Impressive. It's
very,
like,
very
this
impressive.
Is early 90s CGI here.
Oh, yeah. So the buildings in this part are all CG, and they look really, probably really good for a 93.
Weirdly
This
good.
is basically the same. This is basically the same animation that was used in something like Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah, I could definitely make the comparison with that. It really, really works out in this case. But yeah, there's another funny moment with Elsa flying through a skyscraper with Louis trying to apologize. And one thing I noticed, there's a nice foreshadowing with the Thanksgiving balloons in the background, being visible in one part. Yeah, it's just. But yeah, Louis then catches a falling hat and he decides to give it back to its owner. And the hat turns out to belong to Celia, a young girl who is sobbing in her penthouse apartment. She's voiced by Yeardley Smith, who is best known for Yardley Smith, rather, who's best known for playing Lisa Simpson. And the thing that's weird is that she doesn't do anything to sound different from her performance as Lisa Simpson here. So
it's just Lisa Simpson. That's it.
It's exactly the identical voice, and it's so weird because you hear Lisa Simpson's voice coming out from this other cartoon character, and we get another
one other time she plays something outside of Lisa Simpson. She
just says Lisa Simpson anyway.
Simpson.
Yeah. A little funny moment I like with Elsa in this is her little hello, which of course causes Celia to basically dart back into her apartment. And Elsa happily waving to her in the window while Louis tries to talk to her is another really funny moment.
That's cute.
And basically, Louis wonders what's wrong with our parents, and we get this really weird part where Louis says, what's wrong with your parents? Do they beat you? It's like, he's so casual about it. It's like, yeah, your parents, did they hit you?
Man, he is just so done with the world.
Everything. It's like, and again, it's like, this would make sense from a character like, like in the movie Dead End, because that was set in the, during the Great Depression with juvenile delinquents and stuff like that. But in like the 90s in New York, it's like, okay, no.
And to be fair, he probably came from a rough and tumble neighborhood and has probably seen a crap ton of stuff.
I've seen so many videos on so many reviews on this movie. A lot of people complain about the fact that Louis has like this New York accent.
Yeah,
I think it's a good contrast for the character's personality.
Oh no, it works. It works really well. I have to agree with you there.
The street kid, Louis is the street kid, and Colleen's the rich girl.
Not that Pauline though.
Celia. But no, I get your point.
Celia, that's right.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Celia. Yeah. Oh, all right, Celia, not Pauline. That's way different.
Pauline would be a very, very different movie. Maybe we get Rex versus Donkey Kong, but we do not get that. We get this. But anyway, it turns out Celia's parents are never really there for her, and Louis is running away because his parents are too affectionate, which, okay. I mean, that loses a lot of sympathy points.
He's a rough and tumble boy in the 90s, so
yeah,
maybe.
True. Basically, Celia contemplates this, looking at her empty apartment, and the part where she sees a photo of her sitting alone at a gala, it's like the photo of Jack Torrance at the end of The Shining.
Jack Torrance,
I also made that connection a little bit as well.
Which is one of my favorite movies, actually.
Mine too. It's amazing. Kubrick, legend, and friend of Spielberg, so another connection there. But basically, she agrees to run away with the circus with him, and she throws away her hat where it lands on the same little girl that wanted one earlier. Meanwhile, Rex, Woog, and Dweeb are basically waiting for Elsa, and they see that she has Celia as well. And Celia, too, is also very blasé about real-life dinosaurs. I mean, just seeing Elsa was shocking enough, but now that she sees that there's 3 more, it's like a perfectly normal, average day.
Yeah, unlike Emmy and Max from Dragon Tales, we will happily handle those later.
Later.
They have not had a whole lot of, it's unclear whether or not they've had a whole lot of whimsy or not in their lives. So them just being casual, like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool. So want to get lunch? Is just like kind of out of nowhere.
Ooh, nice. But now, like I said, I definitely have to agree with you with that. So, it turns out that Louis is falling for Celia before Louis finds a way that how they can make their way through the city. Which this is why we're doing this particular movie at this moment. It turns out to be Thanksgiving, and the dinosaurs pose in the Thanksgiving Day parade. And it's here where we get the Roll Back the Rock song, which basically is a big highlight of the movie. It was written by Thomas Dolby, who is probably best known for the one-hit wonder She Blinded Me with Science. He also wrote all the songs in the movie Howard the Duck, so, the good and the bad.
I remember over the credits it plays a version that
by Little Richard. Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah. I mean, that guy is
the
awesome
same as it's not the same as the version that was actually in the movie.
Yeah, movies would do that. They would get like big stars to sing basically a song from the movie in the end credits.
Yeah, like Elton John or Sting, even.
Or even like exactly. But like I say, this version too is a fun song, and the animation works well. It helps.
That actually reminds me. There are two things in this scene that I can't help but note. The first is like at the beginning of the thing, like as the T-Rexes are disguised as animatronics and are walking past a bunch of people and kids. There's this one kid in the audience that looks like a mix between Dustin from Stranger Things and Eric Cartman from South Park.
Oh God!
Yeah, I can see that.
I see this kid and I'm like, but Mom, Dartigan's eating someone's face off.
The
second thing, while Rex is doing the improv thing, he jumps legit on a balloon of Spider-Man namely around the butt area. And I'm just like, oh man, he's going for a ride on Spider-Man.
Still better than Amazing Spider-Man 2, let's be real. But
oh my God, yes.
But John Goodman is an extremely talented singer, which definitely helps with how they write the song for this. And apparently, to promote this movie, they actually had a balloon of Rex in that year's Thanksgiving Day parade. It hit a lamppost and it ripped open. Yeah, it hit a lamppost and the head ripped open. So they apparently had to use test footage when they actually aired it on TV of testing the balloon rather than actually using it, the live broadcast, because again, it was shredded open.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, honestly.
Very sadly. I do, Rex.
But Dr. Weeb is still putting up signs and doesn't notice them nor the parade, which pretty
she is blind as a fucking bat.
Exactly.
Woog doesn't even notice her.
Yeah, exactly, and she puts a poster on his leg,
Yes, or he's trying to disguise things. And to be fair, they don't exactly know who she looks like.
Oh no, they don't really know it.
They showed them the picture image of what Dr. Weeds looks like in the dream bubbles.
Dr. Bleed, it was there was that at the beginning of the movie, but they probably forgot by now because it was pretty brief.
No, they talked about a couple of times, we're trying to find the professor. Every time they get to a point, hey, we're supposed to go to the museum, but then things come in between them. They're like, oh, okay, let's go do this with the kids, and it gets worse and worse.
Oh yeah, it keeps dragging them away farther and farther away from the museum.
It feels a little contrived at times, but
that being said, though, I personally, this moment here, I blame it on the fact that they are trying to keep a low profile and the celebrations going on and whatnot. They don't really notice that. Also, Woog has a little bit of a tiny brain, even with the brain grain is.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the dinosaurs, their brains are like the size of walnuts, so it makes sense how.
Yeah. So how good did the brain grain? Did the brain gain really do them?
Yeah, the brain.
Brain gain, not brain. Sorry
it may have made them sentient, but it didn't make them smarter.
That's a very good idea. I never thought of it that way, but you're very, very right. Anyway, Rex sees another dinosaur balloon, and he thinks, of course, it's another dinosaur, shaking its hand and causing it to deflate. It's a cute little reference with Jurassic Park and the movie theater in the background, and apparently the animation working on this movie was killer, because for some reason, Steven Spielberg wanted this in theaters the same time as Jurassic Park. That is insane.
That is very insane.
That might be another reason why the movie is so short, actually.
Yeah, it is, because this movie was apparently had a incredibly rushed production. I mean, it looks phenomenal once you realize that these guys basically had to do this movie in like half the time it takes to make a feature animated film.
Oh yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. And what happens is, as the song finishes, basically the crowd realizes that the dinosaurs are real dinosaurs and panic. Louie and Celia are separated from them, and they tell them they'll meet up in the circus in Central Park. And the Central Park Circus turns out to be run by Professor Screweyes. The dinosaurs basically tries to stop them from going to the circus, realizing, that Professor Screweyes is not a good guy. And what happens is we get a chase sequence, which, to me, I don't know. It feels like padding in a way. It feels like, okay, we gotta get this movie to 70 minutes, and that's with credits, by the way.
It's honestly the weaker part of the movie, but it's not bad. It could be way worse.
It has some inventive gags, but as a whole, it really just feels kind of like padding to me.
Also, Larry King shows up, or his voice appears in this.
Yep, he does. And don't forget, this is one of the many, many movie cameos he made, probably best known as the stepsister in Shrek 2.
Oh,
he actually played a real role.
What?
That was him, yeah. That was him playing Doris the stepsister.
Oh, dear lordy.
Yeah.
I thought B. Larry King was another thing.
Oh, God, that one, too. Oh,
Larry King played himself in this movie, apparently.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
As Rex uses the back of a flatbed like a skateboard, yeah.
Yeah.
We do get one cool part that's cute, is Elsa disguising herself as a gargoyle and avoiding the helicopters. She then bumps into a flag immediately and falls. Yeah. She bumps into a flag and falls in the street. Basically what happens is Rex saves them at the last second before they go into a building scheduled for demolition, which then blasts them to Central Park nearby Professor Screweyes Circus. And the backgrounds in this part in particular with Professor Screweyes Circus of Fear and basically the park in general are really amazing. It has like a foreboding, almost like the Forest from Snow White vibe to it, which, again, for a movie like this, you don't think it should work, but yet for some weird dreamlike logic, it really, really does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the art design, like the shadow of the whole thing of the park becoming like all light, and then it gets to the darkness of Dr. Screweyes' circus. You see, like, the intent of how dark it is.
Definitely, yeah.
The absolute contrast in the lighting.
Yeah, definitely. And they then enter a circus tent to see Professor Screweyes completely unamused with the antics of Stubbs the Clown, which, okay, this is Professor Screweyes' Circus of Fear. Why does he have a normal clown on the payroll? If it was like Tim Curry as Pennywise, then that'd be a different story, but this is an ordinary circus clown. I mean,
Skarsgård as Pennywise.
Oh god, that would be a little too extreme. Yeah,
it would get across what he's going for, though. So
I just realized we were talking about Stubbs, by the way.
Oh no problem. But yeah,
so when
like I say,
I see Stubbs and Professor Screweyes is making fun of him, I'm like, I can see why they try to make a little comedy out of this. We had a whole huge waste of time scene of the chase scene. With Stubbs, I'm like, oh, you kind of like feel bad, and he does tell the story about like, oh, how this hole used to be and everything. I don't want to spoil ahead, but you kind of feel bad for Screweyes.
Oh no, definitely, you definitely do. And of course, Stubbs is played by Martin Short, who is good in anything he does. I mean, anything Martin Short appears in.
A lot of people point out Ben as one of his worst roles, but I highly disagree.
Same. Ben was funny. It fits the story because Ben was
very
funny.
I enjoyed him in Treasure Planet.
And he is a character from Treasure Island. I mean, it was a really good adaptation of him.
Oh,
but anyway,
no! I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
All good. It's all good. But yeah, Professor Screweyes is a really, really dark character for an otherwise tame movie, especially with his backstory, which was not really revealed in the movie itself. It turns out the reason he has one eye, this is from a deleted sequence, a crow ripped it out, and now he surrounds himself with the crows in order to master his fear, which, I mean, this is some dark, dark stuff. I mean, again, 90s, kids movies that were not afraid to get dark as hell, but for a movie like this that has had no indication of anything like this, I mean, it just comes out of nowhere. I can see why they left it kind of on the cutting room floor.
Oh man, two things about this guy. One, he sounds very much like he's trying to audition for the next Scarecrow for Batman. Which
I can see it.
Okay.
I can see it.
Second, okay, this is going into theory baiting a little bit, but
Go ahead.
Legit, he is showing all the goddamn signs of basically being of the people of Autumn from Something Wicked This Way Comes. The Fausti bargains, the fact he runs a circus, the fact he has witchcraft and basically possession and all that crap. He is 100% like Mr. 1-to-1 with someone like Mr. Dark. Hands down.
Definitely. 100%.
When I see Dr. Screweyes, when they talk about like he's a twin brother to the good side, it kind of shows like, okay, we have the good and the bad. But when you see Dr. Screweyes, you don't think of him as a normal human being. You see like
he looks like a gangly, like otherworldly type of figure. And again,
like
spindly long.
Exactly. And basically, he makes them sign a contract.
Out, get that one.
It's okay, yeah. Basically, he makes them sign a contract with their blood, which, I mean, okay, yeah.
That's right, they did.
They did that, yeah.
And again,
I got like...
Who else does that? In theory, the devil did that in a bunch of movies, the way that they just sign a contract with the drop of the blood. Same thing.
Basically, they just made a deal with the devil there.
Yeah, exactly. And he had like, that kind of
get your crucifixes out, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of this house. Out of this house.
Yeah. It's just another thing. Yeah. Anyway, the dinosaurs arrive and try to get the kids away from Professor Screweyes, but Louie and Celia already signed the contract. Screweyes then reveals his fright radio, where he takes in people's fears and he gives it to them with their circus. He then presents brain drain pills that will turn dinosaurs back into, actual dinosaurs. The dinosaurs, of course, refuse, as Screweyes uses his screw eye to hypnotize the kids into taking it, and which again comes completely out of nowhere, no foreshadowing that. Apparently, he has a literal.
I'm gonna pause you right there because it is not shown that they took it. More accurately, it looked like Professor Screweyes hypnotized them and turned them into legit chimps.
Oh, I was about to mention that, but I always thought that they took it.
That is hypnotism and transformation right off the docket, and that is.
Yeah. But
it is a bit haunting when you see the shadows just shrink.
Yeah. That is a really good shot right there. But anyway, Screweyes blackmails the dinosaurs. He'll set the kids free if they take the pills, but if they don't, he'll use them in a sideshow. And then Celia and Louie basically turns back into humans, while the dinosaurs basically go off to their fate. And then we get a complete tonal whiplash the next day, as Stubbs arrives and he does some more comedic antics in the tent, which, I mean, it literally just goes from like a dark scene where the dinosaurs are first to revert back to their, feral, monstrous form.
Then we get
wacky clown fun time antics. It's like you gotta have one or the other. You can't try to do both within a 5-second radius movie.
It doesn't impact too much.
No,
but
it doesn't. But it just feels so weird. Like the pacing of this. I feel like that's the biggest drawback to this movie. Is that again, it feels very rushed because this movie without credits is like 65 minutes. I mean, that is nothing. I mean, for a modern day animated movie, that is like, almost next to nothing. But what happens is Screweyes turns out to have ripped up the contract and he set the kids free. And it's here we finally get to see the dinosaurs as, well, dinosaurs. And we know what Rex looks like, but the others, their more realistic designs are interesting to see because, again, they look like actual depictions of, well, dinosaurs of the time. Stuff from
Land Before Time, more specifically.
I don't like that, yeah, but I thought more like actual, like, textbooks of what dinosaurs look like. I feel like they took inspiration from that, even more than Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park had a lot of, anthropomorphization to them in their own way.
Mhm.
These feel like these are actual, like, the closest thing we have to like a dinosaur in a textbook, basically.
Pretty
And of
much.
course, yeah. The kids are horrified and they want to try to find a way to save their friends. And Stubbs decides to help them because they laughed at his jokes. And it's here we get to see the Circus of Fear, which is really, really awesome. You can tell that this is the moment that the animators were told they could just cut loose and do whatever the hell they wanted.
Oh, hell
It's
yeah.
kind of like for me when I see the circus, like when the opening of the everything else that's happened in the circus, I kind of like picture like the darker side of Pleasure Island. Like you know how it all
Oh,
went
hell
Very
yeah.
much.
creepy.
Very much like
Seeing
Pleasure
this
Island.
is just like
Yeah,
they
it's
just took
very
a
much
part of
Pleasure
an
Island.
idea of that
Yeah, it's
of
very,
Pleasure
very
Island.
much. Same.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I very much see that. I very can see the influence, like on Disney's Pinocchio with this, which again is another really, really dark movie in ways. The lighting effects are really well done too, with like almost like strobe lighting in that, and the shadows. You could really again tell that they had a lot of fun with the sequence. And Screweyes, of course, presents his greatest part, which are the feral dinosaurs, and the audience screams in fright. One woman screams so intently that her hair falls out, which, weird gag there.
Honestly, I love the over-exaggerated reactions.
Oh,
from
no,
the crowd.
definitely. But again, it feels weird, though, because this movie, it's been at like odd tonal stuff, but it's kind of weird to introduce that kind of toony slapstick in a sequence that is meant to be like harrowing in a way, This is supposed to be like the big, frightening thing.
And the performers that they did it, you could literally tell they're basically badass punk teenagers who like, oh yeah, we can handle the scary level of this stuff. You see, when they bring in the dinosaur, they're like, okay, we're getting the fuck out of here. This is just too much.
I mean, to be fair, they are real
we should maybe
dinosaurs.
rethink our life choices a little bit. I don't know, bro. But I want to end up in this fucking mouth. Get to get out here.
Oh God,
And
yeah.
The poor
and
Michael
when you see the
Jackson and
kids-
beat it.
And when you see the
God, yeah.
kids, they're trying to scare these adults. They're mostly again adult or punk teenagers who are like,
Audience,
"Oh
yeah.
yeah, we're cool. We can handle these scary levels." No, you don't. They see it.
You
with these
ain't got
two stunts
shit,
on
buddy.
high
Yeah,
wire
yeah.
outfits and Grim Reapers or little Gremlin characters. They're like high on shit when they see all this stuff, the effects and everything. They're like, "Holy fuck!"
They're like, holy fuck. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, what happens is Screweyes then attempts to tame Rex with his hypnosis, but a crow ruins everything by hitting the flare button, which of course knocks
Comic
Rex out of his
justice.
hypnotic stupor. And the dinosaur basically, of course, tries to eat and basically kill Screweyes. Louis rushes forward, hugs Rex,
Louis.
and begs him not to be a monster. We get probably the most infamous line of this movie, Celia's "Let not bad happen," which, I'm sorry, that is so weird. I mean,
Let no bad happen.
yeah, I mean, you had so many probably like script revisions and recording sessions that nobody stopped and thought that this sounds completely like unlike anything any human being would say. It sounds like something Yoda
she's
would
probably
say.
from a Christian, Mormon, or whatever household.
Honestly,
So
yeah, but almost feels right for her character. Like
It
I think
does
this
in
is
a
the
way, I
best
mean-
they could.
It does. I feel like just the wording of it is kind of weird.
It is a little off, but I think
Yeah.
this is the best they could do for that moment.
Yeah. Then what happens is Rex sheds a tear and he turns back from a feral dinosaur to his
himself.
his intelligent self. He's then followed by the other three
Jen's
dinosaurs.
gonna come and get
Yeah.
hang out with Andrea tonight. Yeah, because we don't have much of a plan for me, Jess, and Chris. Jess has been working her butts off since the Black Friday sale, and Chris wants to go out, but just like, I wanted to stay home and relax. She's got her own thing to do, so it's in the house.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, like I said, what happens is Captain New Eyes' ship then appears to save the dinosaurs.
Before, actually, really quick, circling back around to that.
Yep.
What's very weird about them reverting back is everyone is mostly normal. Like even Elsa, gets back to normal rather quick. And then you get Dweeb, who just has the weirdest fucking reversion. Like his body, his head, freaking pops a lot of places is just what the heck.
It makes sense when you find out about the voice actor. So
Yeah, I know. I get
like
that, but
Roger
still, it's
Rabbit thing.
very
Yeah, I
weird.
could see it. But anyway, what happens is Captain New Eyes' ship then appears again to save the dinosaur. New Eyes heard Louis and Celia's wish, let not bad happen, and they save the dinosaurs. Celia and Louis kiss, while Elsa also makes out with Rex. Stubbs then quits Screweyes Circus with a long, long list of the bizarre things that he has, which it is kind of funny just how it keeps escalating and escalating, how it just keeps going, on and on and on with all the different things that he has.
And it just ends with him being like, "That's frickin' comedy."
Yeah, exactly. And then basically but then basically what happens is the dinosaurs and humans leave as Screweyes is left alone, and we then get another incredibly bizarre and really dark sequence as Screweyes talks about how when he has no one around, he gets frightened and he's completely covered by the crows. And then they leave his body. He has completely vanished, and only his screw remains on the ground, which comes the hell out of nowhere. I mean, at one moment, it's like, Stubbs the Clown, leaving on his little car, and the dinosaurs leaving in Captain New Eyes' ship. Then we get the crows, and then
Guys.
like, well, what the hell happened here?
Right. That's right. This is like the most spooky thing in any kids movie I've ever seen.
It definitely is up there with
It's eerie.
Oh, there are a lot of creepy
classic
moments in
Disney,
kids movies,
like,
hands down.
This is like up there with classic Disney for like, how the hell did this make it in type of moments? Because
Yeah, or like Mission to frickin' Mars with its opening thing.
That too. Yeah,
it has more of a meaning when you find out about the
backstory. Yeah, with him with the crows taking out his eye. Yeah. But what happens is the dinosaurs are then brought to the museum, and Dr. Weave reveals her plan. The dinosaurs are going to basically pretend to be statues and then reveal themselves to children, which is probably a terrible plan. Let's be real. Because what happens when they actually reveal
better than Jurassic Park.
Honestly,
yeah. Dr. Weave should have worked with Dr. Hammond. Maybe then things
the
would have
little
gone
flea circus analogy.
For Jurassic
Imagine
Park.
if she did, though, honestly. Like, I half imagine her and, like, the other doctor, like, working together and, like, sharing ideas at, like, a bar, writing stuff on a freaking cocktail napkin, being all like, "You bloody genius."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, what happens is Celia and Louis are reunited in their families to remain friends, while the dinosaurs work at the museum and delay children. The movie ends with Rex basically finishing his story to Buster before Buster decides to return home, and Rex walks off from Central Park back to the museum. And as Stryker said earlier, the movie ends with the cover of Roll Back the Rock by Little Richard, which is awesome because anything Little Richard did was awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, We're Back, We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, which at the time was a critical and commercial failure. Many of the animators hated working on it because of the aforementioned rushing to get it out. In some countries, like the United Kingdom, this movie actually went direct to video, which, ouch. This
is a big ouch. That actually
sense.
may have hurt sales in the long run.
Right, definitely. And yeah, Ambulation would only make one more movie in 1995, probably their best-known movie, Balto, which, although it's a really good movie in that, it was crushed at the box office by another animated movie that came out the exact same time, Toy Story. So, yeah, sadly, it wasn't a hit, and Ambulation closed their doors soon after. Thankfully, Spielberg's next studio that would do animation proved to be a lot more successful, DreamWorks, although he no longer has part in it, nor does Jeffrey Katzenberg or the other guy. But yeah, overall, this movie, I can't bring myself to hate it, I feel like it's one of those things, too weird
to live. Fun time, honestly.
Like, the old slogan, too weird to live, too strange to die. That's basically this movie.
Too weird to live, but much too rare to die.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Like this movie it's something that we will probably never get another animated movie like this. That is so tonally different, so bizarre with its storytelling cues and characters. It really feels like something that could have only came out at this time and only came out during this time period in film history and with animation and with everything. It feels like, if it was 10 years before, it wouldn't probably happen. If it was 10 years after, it probably wouldn't happen. It's like, this was like pinpointed to be like scientifically accurate. The perfect time for such a bizarre product like this to be made. And again, I can't bring myself to hate it. It's not, I'm not sure if it's a good movie per se. It's not a boring one. I will give it that. This movie is a lot of things. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun, and it's not boring. It might not be a good anime movie. I mean, it's not like Fantasia or like Beauty and the Beast.
I liked it.
No, it's enjoyable. It definitely is an enjoyable movie, if nothing else.
Also, the weird transformation that the dinosaurs go through when they had the intelligence brain grain and the other one. The weird transformation was just so weird. Just seeing that, I'm like, okay, this is a weird transformation, and it does have its moments when Dr. Screweyes is like, again, they don't tell a whole lot of point, but only like bits and pieces from the clown and a part where he talks about the crows. I'm like, can we just get more details on this guy? Like what you said about
exactly. It's like you could have done an entire movie about him. You could have done an entire movie about Screweyes and New Eyes.
They could have explored New Eyes and Screweyes actually.
But yeah, like I say, that is the thing about this movie is that it constantly raises questions, and it's really good again for discussion like this because there's a billion things we could talk about this movie. I mean, we could talk about this movie for like hours, but
but
probably not. It's like Walter Cronkite said, "That's just the way it goes."
Exactly, a perfect thing. So anyway, now is the question of the week, which is, what is the weirdest adaptations of a book that you have seen? Now, I'm going to go first, and I'm going to start off with probably an interesting answer. Not many people, would expect this, but probably Shrek, believe it or not, because the Shrek book, as we mentioned earlier in our Shrek episode, is the most bizarre, nonsensical, what the hell thing to ever exist. It again has nothing to do with the book like this, but that really has nothing to do with the book. The only things it has in common is Shrek is an ogre, he marries a princess, he meets a donkey. That is it. That is literally it. There is nothing like anything with the story. And it's kind of interesting timing that we're doing this episode because they actually very recently released the test animation from 1995 of Shrek, where he looks a lot more like his book counterpart. And I don't know. It looks weird, this test animation. I mean, I get what they're doing. They're trying to translate the book design to a movie, but it really doesn't work. And again, for 95, though, animation is spectacular. But I feel like if the movie had came out with that design, it would have not been a success.
It would have bombed, actually.
Because that version of a Shrek, it really would be kind of a turnoff for audiences, especially mid to 90s audiences who would have only probably known Toy Story for CGI. But yeah, the reason I'm picking that as my weirdest adaptation is just because everything we think about with Shrek, Fiona, Dragon, Lord Farquaad, the fairy tale creatures, none of that was in the original. The original was basically about a picture book about an ogre who basically likes being bad, and that's it. And of course, there's all kinds of other weird things like, and he harassed peasants and takes their food and things like that. And he's just a really nasty, unlikable guy. And he was intended to be. He was intended to be like a parody of, I guess, like traditional fairy tales and that, but not in the way that the movie was. This feels more like, I guess the best way to talk about Shrek the book compared to Shrek the movie, Shrek the book feels like some weird medieval poetry. It has that vibe to it of like something that is from like centuries past, that old peasants would tell their children about. And yet the movie is so fundamentally different. It is an experience. If you haven't checked out Shrek the book, I recommend it because, again, it is absolutely nothing like the movie, but it is unforgettable. That definitely is going to be my option. That. So what would you have to say, Angron?
Okay. So this one... Okay, first, I'm going to tell you about the one that I was going to pick.
Go right ahead.
I was going to pick Akira because, believe it or not, it is in fact the movie. It is in fact based on the manga, as a lot of people no doubt know.
And it's only
Wow.
half the story.
Yep. And
The first
that being
half.
said, there's an interesting thing about Akira that you need to know. Like the movie, it is its ending and climax or so are very different from the manga. Like hands down. Like
It is.
It like both were pretty much a telepathic trip and a half, but this right here is the moment that honestly like makes me think, oh my gosh, why, what, well, it's weird basically, but yeah, that's why I was going to pick it, but unfortunately that is not as interesting.
Oh, go ahead.
No, for my pick, I am going to hands down give. I'm going to give this spot to the bad guys. It's because, okay, interesting story about
That's
this.
also understandable because, like, I remember looking at the comics at Walmart at one point.
Yeah, I remember reading I actually read the books first before finding out about the movie. Like, I didn't think too much about the bad guys. I remember my little sister getting it at a book fair at her elementary school, and I saw the book and I was like, okay. Then I decided to read it, and there were moments where the art style of the book, like the art style of the book, hands down, looks very familiar. Like it legit reminded me of another book series that was possibly illustrated by the same person who did Bad Kitty. However, that being said, I did start with the book, and like I did like that. However, and I was thinking to myself with this, yeah, I don't know how they're really gonna make. Okay, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Like my brain's going way faster than I can even speak. But basically, I saw this and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. Wonder if it'll get made into a Netflix adaptation, Netflix animated series or something like that. Because like, I thought it was a good series at first, and the starting point was pretty good. But I look at this and I'm like, yeah, I wonder if Wolf would sound good as Markiplier.
Okay, bye, Mom.
Or no, if Markiplier would sound as good as Wolf in this. Like I had a pretty solid lineup for these characters. Like I like legit, no doubt. I imagined Mr. Shark was voiced by the same guy who did Frank Castle from The Punisher. It is. I was that nearsighted at the time. But then, so much so that when I saw that they were making a Bad Guys movie, I was like, what the hell? To top this? And I honestly kind of avoided the movie for that reason, for the most part. Because, like, I was hooked on the books for a while. But then, I saw the movie, and I'm like, toss the fucking book out the window. This is the way better version.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I definitely could see that.
But yeah, I still like the old one. It's fun. The illustrations aren't bad. They certainly have their charm in some places, but come on, it's the movie that sold it for me, and that's what makes it overall weird for me. Anyway, that's it.
No, that's all good. Believe me, it's all good. So yeah, so Stryker, what would you have to say is your weirdest book to movie adaptation that you've seen?
Well, I was going to say The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but I haven't exactly read the books, so but that's when Angron mentioned bad guys, and then I remembered a book series that my mom actually bought for me when I was younger. Captain Underpants.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
Right. Yeah, DreamWorks worked on that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember reading these books when I was younger. Like my mom bought it for me, and she was just super happy that she actually got me to read. And like while the other moms at the school were like completely disappointed with her for buying this books for me, she thought they were fun actually.
Yeah, it's fun.
Nice.
I haven't read too much today. I've been more focused on the other series. I've been focused on. I mainly grew up with Ricky Ricardo's Mighty Robot, which had a similar premise alongside Captain Underpants, but yeah, and it was also made by the same guy who made Captain Underpants. But yeah, I can definitely see why Captain Underpants would be a fun series to read and also watch because yes.
Oh yeah, I remember watching the movie and just I loved how it like combined a bunch of the plots of the books that came before it. Like it included the first book obviously, as well as the sequel, Attack of the Talking Toilets. Which, not gonna lie, it was really fun.
Yeah,
no, it definitely was, and shame it kind of underperformed. Although it did get a sequel series, like most DreamWorks movies did. So yeah,
most DreamWorks movies. However, it also gave us a Weird Al Yankovic song.
That too. That's right. That's always good.
Yes.
A strangely epic Weird Al song.
It's honestly fitting with the entire theme of Captain Underpants.
It is fitting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my pick for weird adaptation. Weird book to movie
adaptation of a book. Yeah. So Evie, what would you have to say is yours?
I honestly don't know. I don't read too many books.
It's all good. And let's just see. Okay, and Jordan has left right now, but hold on. I'll ask her about when we get to the Dragoness Scale for that part. And yeah, now it is time for the patent pending Dragoness Scale. And
hey,
Elsa is interesting because she is a really fun character. She's got a great design, great voice. Yeah, she really is a standout of the movie as the lone female. That gives her bonus points because it means she's easily recognizable. But
absolutely,
I can't really give her a 10 out of 10. I might go as high as an 8. The reason being is that, again, she has really fantastic moments. She's a fantastic character, but she doesn't really have much to do. Out of the 4, aside from Rex, she has the most to do. But I feel like aside from that, she just could have been focused on a little bit more. And I blame probably the really bad pacing of this movie in general.
I can understand why. Yeah, I am going to give her I'm going to give her an 8 out of 10 as well. Like, I agree with everything you pretty much said about her. She has good character. She has the most to do. She's basically the group mom or aunt. And for that, yes. But honestly, my only problem is that she needed more time to, be. Like, we needed more of her, hands down. Like, Rex absolutely steals the show, but Elsa is number 1 for me. Alongside, so yeah, I basically have a ranking for them. Elsa's number 1, Rex is 2, Woog is 3, and Dweeb is 4. I apologize for nothing.
Completely. Yep, I understand completely. So, yep, that's good. Stryker, what would you have to give her?
I was originally going to give her a 7, but revisiting a lot of the scenes from the movie, I'm going to have to give her an 8, actually.
Wow.
She was better. She was better than I actually remembered her being, to be honest. Like, she was, like you said, she's a fun character. She has a great design. It's just I liked Rex more for a character.
Right.
That's not to say that I didn't like Elsa. Like, not at all. Far from it.
Yeah.
No, I get you completely. But yeah, also, Jordan has just written the weirdest book to movie adaptation, she says, is The Cat in the Hat, which, okay, that's a great choice right there, because that movie is just bonkers.
That's understandable.
Really? Yeah,
The
interesting.
one with Mike Myers.
Mike Myers was blacklisted into being in it, believe it or not, or blackmailed, rather, into being in
God.
it. He turned down a movie based on one of his Saturday Night Live characters. Universal said, anytime we have a project, you have to do it. And they were doing a Cat in the Hat movie, and they called him up to do it, and he was forced to. So, yeah, that did not end well. But yeah, and she also says that she is giving Elsa an 8 out of 10. Because she loves Elsa's personality, and she feels like she's a really fun character. So, Evie, what would you have to give her?
It's like a 5 out of 10, but when I was looking for a picture of her, I found like an actual Elsa dinosaur.
Oh God!
No.
Disney, if you are listening to this in either Frozen 3 or Frozen 4, make Elsa a dinosaur or a dragoness, and we will happily review it on this podcast. We're just saying.
No one at Disney's gonna listen to this.
I mean, why not? Why not? It can work.
Honestly, this needs to be a sticker.
Okay.
What the hell? Honestly, I think if anyone here is a little more qualified to handle dinosaur crap, it would honestly have to be Universal, because even though they milk the shit out of it, oh man, they still know how to handle it a little better.
Exactly. Yeah. Also,
what'd you say your? By the way, Stryker, what'd you say your ranking was?
He gave her a 8 out of 10 as well.
8.
Nice.
Yeah. And also, we have a surprise today, because even though Math Machine couldn't make it here, he is a huge fan of this movie, and he has given me his Dragoness ranking, and I will read it verbatim what he wrote. She's a 9 out of 10 for me. What holds her back is that this movie is the Rex show, and all of the other dinosaurs are just along for the ride. That said, she has the most personality and leaves the biggest impact of all the 3 side dinosaurs, which is something we definitely can agree with, and we will add his ranking to the scale right now.
Nice.
Yep. And if you
picture the Elsa dinosaurs.
Oh God!
If you have any questions, or you want to send us how you would do a sequel to Frozen where Elsa becomes a dinosaur, you can email us at fiorydiscourse@outlook.com or visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fiorydiscourse. Next time we're talking about the 2000 Courage the Cowardly Dog episode, Serpent of Evil River. So until then, take care.
That's interesting.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun, that one. And yeah, until next time, thank you guys so much for listening, and take care.
Laters.
Adios.